That humming in the background is my AC, and it's on because I don't want to die of heat stroke. Hey there, kids, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank, hoping that you are having a great day. And in today's video, I wanted to sit back, relax with you guys, and talk about the month of June. And there might be some kids in the audience asking, Uncle Frank, why do you want to talk about June? It's just a normal month that we get every year. And it's true that June is a month that we get every single year. It's largely the same every single year. But this June is a bit different, and I do firmly believe that 5-10 years from now, people are going to look back on June 2025 and say, that's one of the best months in TCG history. And here's why. We have had some absolutely stellar releases for this month. 3 in particular that I really want to talk about in this video, all 3 of which are extremely anticipated sets for fairly popular TCGs that have a lot of hype around them, a bit of controversy surrounding them, but also just a lot of good emotions, good opinions online. You see people really excited to get a hold of these and crack them or hold them for later. But there's a lot of good stuff here. And yeah, I know technically Destin Rivals is not a June release, but it was the very last few days of the previous month. So I'm going to count it as a June set, even though it is technically like a May set. But, you know, let's talk about Destin Rivals first, though, since I'm holding it already. Destin Rivals is one of the most anticipated Pokemon sets of recent memory. In no small part because it brings back Team Rocket to the TCG, gives us some more Team Rocket Pokemon, gives us a bunch of really cool Team Rocket synergy cards. Team Rocket, of course, being a fan favorite, a very nostalgic, evil group in the Pokemon world. People are always excited about them. Some of the earliest sets in Pokemon history were Team Rocket sets. And then there was the Return of Team Rocket set, which people liked a lot. And now we have this one. And besides just the Team Rocket, there are some really solid collectible cards, not just the full art illustration rare and special illustration rare trainer cards, but also things like Cynthia's Garchomp, the Ho-Oh, the Mewtwo, which people are absolutely freaking out about. You know, when you combine all of that, it's not hard to see why some people would treat this as one of the most in-demand and highly desirable Pokemon sets of the last year. Could you imagine if there was a Charizard in here? Could you imagine if there was a Charizard in Destin Rebels? You wouldn't be able to get a box. People would kill you for these. And yeah, there is still a lot of, you do see a bit of that news cycle online, people fighting over Pokemon boxes, people struggling to get a hold of even a little bit. But I think that in the long term, that paints a very interesting picture for the product as a whole, because if people are willing to go to those kind of lengths just to get a hold of this, you know that it's kind of highly anticipated. And I think down the road, that's going to help paint the picture of this set as something that people really wanted, people really liked to get a hold of. And it's just something really nice for the set, for the series as a whole, for Pokemon as a whole, because the more people want it, the more they're gonna try their best to get it, you know? Then we have down here, it's got a little off-screen chair holding some boxes. We have High Seas. Doesn't really show up that well on camera. High Seas, the Skeleton Pirate set. This is one of the most highly anticipated Flesh and Blood sets, and a highly anticipated set for a card game that is currently seeing its growing cycle. I think this is one of the most stellar Flesh and Blood sets, not just because it's a pirate set, which is highly anticipated, not just because it gives us the Necromancer class, which was very anticipated, and not just because it threw Thief at us out of nowhere, which was a very welcome surprise. Those are all good things, and all things people were very much looking forward to, but there was also the treasure packs that you can pull in these boxes. Treasure packs that have the potential, the possibility of pulling some really high-end cards. WTR Alpha Cold Foils. Apparently some of them were signed? That's crazy, right? So there's like a lottery ticket aspect to these boxes that people are taking into account when they're deciding what to pick up. And you take all of that into account when you're examining this, and it's not hard to see why this is one of the most excited, highly anticipated, and very hyped sets for Flesh and Blood throughout its history, which leads me to wonder where it's going to be in a few months to a few years, because this is already like, oh man, I don't know I think Destin Rivals is around 250, 260 right now. And I think a box of high C's is around, I want to say around 150. Maybe it's not officially out yet, but I think it's around 150. It's a crazy set. For the last 2 years, we've been seeing Flesh and Blood sets come out and then just kind of trickle downwards. Not as bad as Yu-Gi-Oh! Not as bad as Yu-Gi-Oh! And I will talk more about Yu-Gi-Oh! Sets in the future. I'm not done talking about cheap Yu-Gi-Oh! Sets. Mark my words. But I want to focus on Flesh and Blood right now. And now that we're seeing the player resurgence, the player growth, not resurgence, the player growth and the excitement around new Flesh and Blood releases, we're starting to see sets come out and not only not lose value, but gain 50% value before the set's even out. And that's really exciting. And it makes you wonder, where is this going to be in a few years? You know? But I don't want to do any speculation here. I'm very much not going to be holding on to this. This is the only product that I have here today that I'm not holding on sealed, because I still play a lot of Flesh and Blood and I want to rip open these treasure packs. So I might get some high C's later to hold on to, but for now it's very much an open box. But as for things that I'm not opening, we have the final set I want to talk about today. Yeah, you guys might have seen this coming. Final Fantasy, Magic the Gathering's most recent Universes Beyond product. It is not an exaggeration to say that this little box, this collector box, this is a collector box, right? Yeah. It's not an exaggeration to say that this is one of the most in-demand and crazy hyped products for any TCG ever released. This, I cannot think of another time where a box has come out and has such an insanely demanded price tag that people are actually willing to pay. People are paying $700 plus for this box. And I think that's absolutely insane, but I don't think that it's a bad price tag. And here's why. I think I mentioned this before on the channel, but Final Fantasy is one of the most, it's one of the largest IPs on the planet. Maybe not in the top 10 or something, but it is a large IP with a ravenous fan base who absolutely loves the characters, the setting, the lore, the gameplay, the collectible aspect of it, the MMO aspect of it, everything about it. This IP is one of the largest IPs in terms of fan bases that Magic has worked with. And if the Lord of the Rings projection for price is anything to go off of, $700 for a collector box is, it's still a lot of money, right? No one's going to say that $700 for one box of cards is not a lot of money. But I don't think it's the largest amount of money people are going to be spending on it in the near future, especially if they maintain the whole no reprint on collectors thing. As for the other aspects of the set, because there are play boosters, there are commander decks, I think those are going to perform very well over time as well. And like I was saying, this is a month we're going to be seeing this is a month that I think we're going to be referencing for the next 5 to 10 years, because all three of these sets are phenomenal sets. You know, say what you like about Universes Beyond and Final Fantasy, there are some stellar cards in here. Some that are going to definitely see a lot of play, not just in Standard and Modern, but in Commander, the biggest format in the game. There are going to be people who are buying cards from this set because they want to build a VV deck in Commander. Probably CEDH, that is a very powerful card. It's like the best Storm Commander I've ever seen, I think. He's really strong. He's really good. My boy VV turned out to be a goat. But not just the Final Fantasy, there's the Flesh and Blood of the Pokemon stuff too. I think that those are going to perform very well over the long term as well. And obviously, this isn't a big-brained claim. Nobody's going to go ahead and say, "Oh, that's a big-brained claim." That's not a really, it's not really informed take, right? It's just anybody with a brain can look at these three sets and go, "Oh, those are all really good," right? But I just want to talk about the fact that it's kind of a crazy coincidence that all three of these are releasing roughly the same time, like the same 2 to 3 week period of one another, and they're bringing some real attention to the TCG world. They're bringing some real cash into not just game stores, but to online sellers, places like GameStop that are holding like Pokemon, for instance. There's a lot of attention going to the TCG world as a direct result of these three sets, And I think that's just a really cool, I think it's just a really cool coincidence that these three historic sets are coming out all roughly the same time. I don't think it's a big brained move to just say that. I think June 10 years from now, I think June 2025 is going to be, it's going to be pretty fondly remembered because of these three sets. Now, whether you are someone who agrees with the price tag of these products or not, whether you're someone who thinks that they should be worth more or less, I think it's fair to say that, no matter how well it does, 5 to 10 years from now, you'll be happy to have some of this stuff under your belt. But that's really all I wanted to say. I wanted to share some of my excitement because this is an exciting video to talk about these products, just to sit down and share my opinions with you guys. Let me know what you guys think. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'd very much appreciate it. And remember, that did not come out right. Remember, I forgot what my ending tagline was going to be. I'll see you kids later. Ciao.